So this is photosynthesis in the thylakoid membrane. And what first happens is in photosystem 1, the electrons make energy to turn NADP plus into NADPH. So that's what they're doing right now.
Energy transactions. Takes glucose, a molecule so sugary, breaks it down to NADH and ATP. It's an anaerobic cytoplasmic pathway that amazes.
Now the electrons from photosystem 2 give energy to pump H plus into the thylakoid, creating a concentration gradient.
Investment, activation, energy supplied, cleavage, our 6-carbon sugar.
And the electrons from photosystem 2 go to photosystem 1 and replace the electrons that were used. Then a water molecule splits.
Come on, sugar, for the breakdown. For the breakdown. Investments.
And the electrons from it replace the electrons in photosystem 2. Now that many H plus ions were stored, they will pump out of ATP synthase and meet with ADP to make ATP.
With 2 phosphates, it's highly unstable, moving us to the second phase, the cleaving of fructose bisphosphate, because glycolysis means splitting sugar, you can see. Cleavage yields 2 molecules with carbons 3.
The next
One is
stage of photosynthesis is the Calvin cycle, where carbon dioxide and RUBP form together to make a 6-carbon molecule, which divides into a 3-carbon molecule for stability.
These molecules are called phosphoglycerates, and 3 of them leave to make other substances and 3 stay in the Calvin cycle.
Phase 3, G3P gets rearranged.
And now things will react with it, like ADP to make ATP and NADPH to make NADP+. Now phosphoglycerates can be reused in the Calvin cycle or used to make glucose.
That's the gross yield for every glucose in, a generous accounting of
The first stage of cellular respiration is glycolysis, where first ATP transfers its energy to glucose, and we get a 6-carbon biphosphate, which splits into a 3-carbon biphosphate for stability. Then ADP reacts with it to make ATP, and NAD plus reacts with it to turn into NADH.
It'll be fermented, but in aerobic cells, pyruvate termination will be the Krebs cycle and total oxidation. Glycolysis. Come on, sugar, for the breakdown. For the breakdown. Glycolysis starts.
Now the biphosphate turns into a pyruvate.
That we started with, the product is cleaved into 2 G3Ps from which the cell harvests NADH and ATPs. This anaerobic pathway is
The next stage of cellular respiration is the Krebs cycle, where the pyruvate gets oxidized. NAD plus reacts with it to get NADH, and we get an acetyl CoA, which combines with 4 carbon molecules, and we get a 6-carbon molecule. Then NAD plus reacts with it to get NADH, and a carbon combines with oxygen to make carbon dioxide. Then another NAD plus reacts with it to get NADH, and another carbon is lost to make carbon dioxide. Then we are left with a 4-carbon molecule that reacts with FAD plus to make FADH2, and we can reuse it in the cycle.
In the electron transport chain, NADH and FADH donate its electrons to the ETC.
Let's break it down. Glycolysis is a series
With this energy, the proteins can pump hydrogen ions out of the membrane.
glucose, a molecule so sugary, breaks it down to NADH and ATP. It's an anaerobic cytoplasmic pathway that amazes, organized easily into 3 phases: investment, cleavage, and energy harvest.
Now H plus is pumped through ATP synthase and meets with ADP to make ATP.
Our 6-carbon sugar divides, harvest, we get our energy yield. So beautiful, so intricate.
Now
Keep your eyes
oxygen
peeled.
has reduced and bonded with H plus to form a byproduct of the ETC.
For the